Well, hello, it's me again, and I am still alive. And actually, I'm feeling better than I felt yesterday. And there are some things which we need to talk about. And I will start from what would you expect, really, France celebration of the Victory Day, which is, of course, V-Day by Western allies, is celebrated on the May 8th over Nazi Germany. And of course, Russia hasn't been invited there. What's new, really? But truth is, while there will be many praises going towards, the American and British contribution to invest, saving the world from Hitler, basically, of course, that will be all absolutely untrue. And here's what I wanted to point you out to. If you look and read this book by none other than grandson of Ike, by Dwight D. Eisenhower, David Eisenhower, this book, which came out in '89, I believe, it became New York Times bestseller, #1 bestseller. Gosh, what the times are we talking about? Excellent, really a historical work becoming a #1 bestseller. Yeah, different times. But if you will be able to manage to read all 1,000+ pages of this excellent book, excellent historical narrative, I have it, I enjoyed it, I read it periodically, you will recognize that while reading this book, you will be constantly encountering, practically on every page, how Western allies were coordinating with obviously those damn Ruskies, especially with Stalin and with Kremlin, how they will be able to basically land in Normandy, which happened obviously June 6, 1944, by which time obviously combined European forces. Don't forget, it wasn't just Germany. There were many French, Danish, Dutch, Belgium, SS divisions, Italians, Hungarians, who invaded Soviet Union in 1941. It was clear by then that practically most of the creme de la creme of the German army or Wehrmacht and SS forces have been annihilated on the Eastern Front. That did indeed allow the Western allies to land in Normandy in 1944, and of course even to the latest days, and including up to the 22nd June 1944, the start of Red Army's massive Operation Bagration, which annihilated the Army Group Center. Pretty much everything what allies were doing was hinging on how Soviets, how the Red Army will behave. So please get this book and read it. You'll be surprised that while obviously Ike, and I'm extremely sympathetic to this figure, he was definitely an outstanding man, but you will see yourself how much input, how much Russian input was there in the success of the Western allies, who by that time, by 1944, really didn't decide the outcome. Outcome was decided in 1943, early 1944, on the Eastern Front, and after that there was no doubt that the Soviet Union will demolish Axis forces and will basically demolish the combined force of Europeans. So that will be my suggestion. And of course, for many years, this was becoming, until it was completely overwritten by the United States and especially UK efforts, MI6 especially, to rewrite the history of the World War II. And we have all those clowns like Anthony Beaver, accusing Red Army of raping 2.5 million German women. Why did he come up with 25 million? I don't know. So, but yeah, we are observing today a steady and continuous rewriting of the history of the World War II, which of course puts in the center the the role of the United States as the ones who really kind of saved the world, which of course nowhere near the truth. But that book is very important. I would suggest you to read it. But we immediately go back to basically how Western propaganda operates. And again, make no mistake, the Western media today, mainstream media, are nothing but propaganda. They are operated people with no honor, with no integrity, with no morals, and basically this whole machine is doing the only thing, which is basically, well, turning the Western world, especially Europeans, but United States also, into this sort of version of 1984. And in this particular case, knowing that this morning, the ruble was trading in Russia, not on the internal trades, but basically on any banks. It was 66 rubles to $1. Remember, Mr. Biden promising the ruble being 200 for $1. Well, evidently people cannot take it easy anymore. They cannot. It's torturous. It's absolutely excruciating for them to see the rally of a ruble, and now, because they understand that their lies will be yet again exposed, that basically oil price tabloid also places, today writes this type of article that somehow, the May 9th, a celebration of Russia, of Soviet Union, basically victory over the Nazi Germany and its allies, somehow will impact oil. I don't know how convoluted one has to be and how brainwashed one has to be, but it's not a bug, it's a feature now on most Western journalists. They are basically ignoramuses, and when they try to put together like May 9th and oil, and of course the reason they hide it, because obviously one of the very popular rumors fed by the Ukrainian propaganda, and the people who are behind Ukrainian propaganda, and people who are behind Ukrainian propaganda are primarily intel services from the UK and the United States. They fed this rumor that on May 9th, Putin will announce the massive mobilization of Russian troops. Well, obviously, Kremlin kept silent for a while, and then, of course, Peskov came out on the 4th, 2 days ago, and says it's absolute baloney. Nobody's going to declare any kind of mobilization. And the question is why? That's the other thing. And when you look at the basically rumors which Western media circulates directly taken from the Ukrainian propaganda, such as this morning, again, yet another Russian ship has been hit, allegedly. Admiral Makarov, project frigate, allegedly has been hit by something. Then, of course, Peskov comes out, the spokesperson for the Kremlin, and he says, you know what, we don't have any information about this ship being hit, but that's how it operates. They feed and they throw in some kind of rumors, and then basically they build the narrative around them. Well, in reality, of course, if you look at the situation with what is happening to the VSU, Ukrainian armed forces, on the front lines, it's really actually a sad and sorry picture, up to the point, and I will leave this link below my video to this Vinnytsia remaining of what remained of the some kind of the paratroop storm battalion, which was reduced pretty much to less than one company, and you can hear what they're saying on camera, all of them standing that basically we have no control, we have no command, officers abandon them, and they just throw them at the front line, hoping that, they will survive with AK-47s against Russian tanks. So follow this link. You don't need to really know Russian or Ukrainian for that matter. They speak on some kind of bizarre mix, which is called Suzhik, pretty much. They are from Vinnytsia, and you can immediately see the state of these remnants. They speak about openly about the enormous amount of the what is called cargo 200. 200 means KIA in Russian, and 300s, and basically their rank and file being not decimated, they've been halved or even two-thirds, so they have no force basically to fight. And what is remarkable about this are the comments of Russian people underneath that video. When Russians say, guys, just please surrender. You're not going to be killed. You're not going to be tortured. Surrender. You're going to save your lives. And basically also that will reflect in a positive way on the lives of Russian soldiers. But they say primarily you will save yourself, because otherwise you will be annihilated. And today we can obviously state that the losses of the Ukrainian armed forces are catastrophic, and it is established fact. It is admitted by actually Pentagon, which says that basically, yeah, we cannot really prepare them fast enough. But it also relates to another thing, which I am on the record for many years now, and I understand majority of the armchair strategists, they love the tactics. They love how you can place some mines, or how you can develop, some kind of, squad or platoon, in an ambush, how you can shoot some, NLAW or javelin missile, and how it gonna hit something and explode. And yeah, it's all fine and dandy, but it is military porn designed for people who have no clue. It's basically armchair strategists who primarily operate from their mom's basements and are gamers also. They are also part of those people who not anymore, I don't think so, the stream is that important of that, unlike it was 2 months ago. Those people who want to become the mercenaries and go to safari to kill some Ruskies. Well, obviously, real war fought is a very different way, in a very different way. And it's not just, as I already stated, tactical, operational, and strategic level. They operate on they are integrated vertically, and they operate simultaneously, mutually integrating with each other. And of course, the higher you go, even tactics is complex. And if I'll show you the numbers which I use to calculate actual tactical situations, from deployment of, let's say, some tank detachment to basically calculating required force for the attack, this is not what you think it is. It's not that some kind of combat manual you can look and say, oh yeah, we have to do this and that. No, it's more complex than that. That is why you get officers going to military academies and studying all those complex mathematical physics and other things in order to be able to command and control basically their units, formations. But then, of course, you go to the operational and strategic level, and here what I have to say, and that is why I mentioned David Eisenhower's book in the beginning. Let me be very blunt here, with again, make no mistake, I greatly appreciate and admire heroism of the Western allies. I really appreciate the heroism of the U.S. Navy and Marines who fought Japan, in the Pacific theater. So it was magnificent. And of course, yeah, naval history of the United States is absolutely admirable, and, please make no mistake, I by no means want to diminish or degrade it. But truth is, guys, operational and strategic experience of Western allies is nowhere near of what Russians were doing in the 20th century, or for that matter in the 19th century. For all their failures, make no mistake, there were failures, there were losses, sometimes horrendous losses, but in the end, the Russians were always getting into the capitals of the nations which attacked them. Napoleon attacked Russia. Russia ended up in 1814 in Paris. She ended before that in Berlin once, and then in 1945, Red Army ended in Berlin again. So it's just like that. And when we say about Ukraine, you have to understand it is the difference in the weight category here between Russian General Staff, or for example, Joint Chiefs of Staff, who try to outplay or outsmart Russians in the theater which is next to Russia proper. This is risible, honestly, apart from the fact that electronics-wise, communications-wise, and ISR, intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance, Russia and the United States are peers. Russians have a lot of space assets right now hanging over Ukraine, so it's not like, Russians are Iraqi army. And if you have this boy again, Marco Rubio, suddenly arriving to the conclusion that, oh yeah, Russia is not Iraq, well, good. Finally, somebody gets the, touch with reality. So in this particular case, when I hear and read all those whining and complaints that Russia should, just introduce all its forces, no, It shouldn't. Again, the forces are calculated not on the numbers of forces. This is not how they are calculated. They are calculated on the basis of the combat effectiveness. And that is why the second, so to speak, major myth, which has been debunked now pretty much by anybody who has any clue on the military operations, the fact that of the timing or the timetable of Russian operations. Who said that Russia or Putin or Gerasimov or whoever stated anything about the time frame? There was no time frame. Even Peskov just went on record, like I believe a week or 2 weeks ago, that there will be no special, attacks or capturing some objectives or some cities for the May 9th. And it was often the case, for example, during Great Patriotic War, when, for example, some troops have been moved and were tasked with basically taking some specific town or some specific city, especially for the 7th of November, which was the Revolution Day, and things of this nature. No! The task is to preserve as many civilians' lives and as many lives of Russian servicemen, So, and in this case, there is no time frame. There is enough weapons, there is enough standoff munitions to basically, escalate whenever needed. Dial to 11, then go dial back to 8, then dial to 11, and back again. But truth is, and as I already stated, that the consensus now, even among those who are just fanatical imbeciles, who spread the BS, they begin to feel that things are not going that well. The Ukraine is done. And if we consider the fact that polls at least now demonstrate that they want the Galicia back to Poland, who knows what is going to happen to Ukraine? Will it exist at all? I mean, who knows? We don't know. You go out there, the general staffs do this contingency planning, they do the combat operational planning for 24/7, non-stop. So, and you look at the development of the operation, and, as long as you kind of maintain the very acceptable level of your losses, hey, we can do it for a long time. And that's another thing. They don't understand that Russia economically can continue this war for a very long time, while West, including the United States, cannot continue to do this at all for much longer. And especially if you consider the fact that, of course, in November we have the midterms in the United States and Europe altogether. Once the winter comes, I mean, it doesn't even matter that the winter comes. I mean, you will need to have energy and gas and oil, to propel your economy, to maintain it from complete or prevent it from complete dying. So Russia has all the time it needs. And that is why I wanted to talk about this, because I'm sorry, guys, but truth is the scale and the scope of operation Russian or Soviet or Red Army or Russian, again, Imperial General Staff has in terms of this simple, amazing, humongous scale, unparalleled in human history, I'm sorry, guys, it's simply unachievable. And of course, they know what they're doing. So hence all those rumors, desperate rumors to, that Russians again, the Russian frigate have been hit. Now we have like number of Russian generals killed. Well, no, 2 of them have been killed. They were buried with all required military decorum, and Russia is very open about its losses. And if you pay attention also, what many people do not understand, the majority of videos, the majority of snippets which you see, they are not about Russian armed forces. Some of them are, but even then you have to get them through with all those trademarks like RIA Novosti or TASS or anything. But most of it, those are LDNR forces, and I will continue to repeat again, while they are definitely integrated with Russia, they are different entity still. And they have different way or approach to this whole operation. They are even basically armed differently than Russian forces. So that was my point, the point I wanted to make today. And so basically I had enough energy, and again, I'm feeling better. I think so. I'm beginning, well, don't worry about it. I'm feeling better, definitely. So what I want to say, as always, those who can afford, please support me on the Patreon, and as always, subscribe to my channel, which will allow me to do more videos. And this was my kind of, for the weekend to you guys, that you can take this information as a food for thought and contemplate a little bit about what you are seeing. And again, I never saw such a desperation, because, never. I never saw anything like that, because it's becoming absolute madness, because they just basically make information up as they go, make things which do not exist, never happened, and that tells you the level of desperation and dawning understanding of where it all goes. So that will be my talk with you guys for today. So I'll try to improve in the nearest days to make more energetic and more kind of important and substantial videos. So I'll be talking to you very soon, and have a nice weekend. Bye bye.